Welcome, everybody. My name is Maralee Burnett. I am your astrologer, back with the messages for the week of April 6th, which I am doing from home because I have finally finished my 3 weeks worth of travel across the country and got everything done that I was hoping to get done. Saw some amazing things and amazing locations that you always hear about and you just don't always take the time to visit. So it was really great fun. So I was very excited about my trip and more excited to be just back at home and settled in and connecting with you and all of the astrology that's going to turn the heat up a bit as we start to get into the month of April and a really incredible new moon in Aries that will be here in a couple of weeks. So if you want to look ahead, make sure you go out to my website, maraleeburnett.com. There you can subscribe to my website and get access to all of the free information, like the written articles for April that will include, of course, the day-to-day breakdown, the new moon, and then the full moon after that. So it is a pretty powerful month ahead, as they all are in this 1 year, in this fire horse year. Things are moving ahead quickly. And you want to keep up, well, you might want to click on that subscribe button down below as well so that I can give you the breakdown on a weekly basis here, or even consider joining me so that you can see the tarot card messages that I post every single day as well. And I connect those with what's going on in the astrology, so you really are prepared on a day-to-day basis based on what I'm sharing with you every day. So this week, not a lot of eventful energy shifts or changes, so it'll go pretty quickly. And with that, let's just go ahead and get started here on Monday, April 6th, of course, 2026. And as we wrapped up Easter yesterday and we head on into this week, the energy that we're carrying forward with us is this connection between Venus in her home sign of Taurus now, speaking in harmony with that South Node in Virgo, and of course with the North Node in Pisces. And they're all sitting at 8. So this makes it 888, which is an angel number that has to do with strength and leadership. And so, because it's Venus in the sign of Taurus, it could be women who are in leadership roles that are speaking up, speaking out about the past so that we can decide where we're headed in the future. This could have something to do, of course, with finances as well. Taurus rules love and beauty and money and all the material things you can possibly desire. And so it's something about our desires that fate is guiding us on maybe how it is that we achieve our desires, what we have to learn from or let go of the past in order to head into the future. And it's a good positive day with Venus being a benefic planet. So there's choices to be made. And when we choose wisely, then we can potentially see some rewards. And we'll see that building over the next week as Venus gets closer and closer to her connection to Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. These two benefics, when they speak together in harmony, can bring us some blessings. And boy, do we need them right now. The other thing of importance on Monday is we do now see Uranus in the sign of Taurus at that critical 29th degree. So this is when things get kind of rocky. The earth can get shaky. The financial markets can get even shakier and start to really test us. So this could be a very volatile couple of weeks. We have until April 25th, and then that is when we will finally see Uranus leave this grounded earthy energy and head into the sign of Gemini. And that will be a significant shift. Taurus energy is heavy. It's stubborn. It doesn't change easily. So Uranus being in this earthy sign for the last 6-7 years has been trying to break us free of things that we continue to do on repeat out of habit that we don't necessarily need to keep doing anymore. And so wherever this is in your chart, in your life, there's a test of some kind. I always say that 29 degrees is the test. Have you learned the lesson that this planet has been trying to teach you, what you need to break free of, where you need to become more innovative? And if you haven't, then there could be some shocking surprises that show up for us. Now, there is certain world leaders that have this Uranus energy squaring their ascendant, and that could make their behavior extremely radical and volatile over the next few weeks. So unfortunately, that makes things in the Middle East not calming down. There will be a lot of frustration with what is going on there, and certain leaders may react spitefully because they're not getting their way. So this could be a very intense few weeks. So send out light, send out love, send out protection for all of those who are in that area of the world. My own daughter is there. So please keep focusing on positive energy and sending light and protection to all of our service members over there so that they can come home safely. All right. So that's a big bit of energy. And then we still see the final bit of this square that's beginning to separate also between the sun and Jupiter. So this has been with us since the end of last week. The sun in Aries is somebody who's very self-centered, egocentric, and Jupiter is almost the opposite of that, right? This is somebody who's caring and concerned for families. And so this could be where we hear what the Supreme Court is going to rule about this battle for birthright citizenship. And it's likely to go Jupiter's way, and that will make the sun person very upset. So we have more conflict and drama going on there as well. So as usual, just a few little intensities of energy as we get started in this week ahead. So let's take a look at Tuesday. And like I said, there's not going to be a lot of shifts and changes this week. But on Tuesday, what we begin to see is this alliance forming between that Uranus in Taurus energy and Mars in the sign of Pisces. So Mars in Pisces is war in the water, about the water. And when Mars is working in harmony with Uranus, it could suggest surprises that have been hidden coming to the surface. It could suggest some alliances about what we're fighting over, the oil, again, something hidden and beneath the surface, and money, right? Uranus and Taurus, of course, is money. So there's some potential for some kind of surprise negotiations. There can be surprise attacks. This is a couple of days where the energy is extremely volatile. Now, this is a sextile. So a sextile is a 60-degree angle. It's harmonious energy. It can be very subtle, but these are not subtle planets. And so maybe there is an ease in your life somewhere where things come together unexpectedly that can benefit you and surprise you in a good, happy way. Mars, of course, is what we're passionate about. In the sign of Pisces, it can be music, it can be religion, it can be art, and Uranus, again, is money. So maybe there's some agreement that you make with other people, and your exchange of something along those lines rewards you financially with that surprise income that comes to you. So there's, of course, a lot of different ways that this can show up. Those of you that have planets at late degrees of Taurus and Pisces will feel this more strongly. And so hopefully it's a helpful energy that can move us forward in some way. But keep in mind, when you have both Mars and Uranus at 29 degrees, as we are about to see, there can be some surprise intensity that is building up. And of course, where is it building up? In the Middle East. So there's a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes that we're not seeing yet, we're not aware of yet. It's this negotiating going on between Saturn in Aries and Pluto in Aquarius. So we need to remain optimistic that the reason certain things are happening right now in the world will eventually be shown to us, but we still are very much in the dark about truly what all of this is about. And once that becomes clear, that's going to be when we see the potential for change in this conflict. But until then, certain people are going to be working very hard to keep it hidden and use it as a distraction from exposing the truth. But keep an eye on that Jupiter, because Jupiter is the one that will expose the truth. Jupiter is moving forward now. And as it continues to gain momentum, its presence, its energy becomes bigger and bolder and shares and teaches us what we need to learn and what lessons we need to learn as well. So that's what we see on Tuesday, some surprises. And then, as I mentioned, as we head into Wednesday, officially Mars here is at that 29 degrees. Thankfully, Mars does move fairly quickly. But there are people who use astrology for not the best intentions. And I would expect those people to do something surprising and shocking when these two planets are meeting here on Wednesday. So it's a good day to be careful when you're traveling over water, around water, underwater, because there can be some shocks and surprises on this day. It's a better day if this energy feels overwhelming to do something creative, to do something that makes a difference in other people's lives. When we're stressed out, when we're anxious, it's because all the energy is focused inward. And if you keep pouring the energy in, then you become overwhelmed. So this is a great day to learn how to break out of that cycle. And the best way to break out is to look at and focus on other people instead of just yourself. And if it's not other people, it's just getting yourself out of your shell, out of a house. Get out and move. Mars in the sign of Pisces can make us feel more energized, more motivated when we're being by or near water. But as I've said, if you are going to be by or near water, just be cautious, because both Mars and Uranus can create accidents, and we can become overzealous when Mars and Uranus are speaking together and thinking that we are unstoppable when we clearly are human, and so that's not possible. So just be extra careful with how you're dealing with the energy that might have you feeling a little anxious and a little wired as we hit the middle of this week. So that is the energy on Wednesday. And then, as I mentioned, it was a brief conversation that we are seeing between Mars and Uranus. So right before Mars dips into its home sign of Aries, which happens on Thursday afternoon, there might be this last push, this last shock, this last surprise. And then things are really going to begin. I know this is hard to believe, to become intense. Because now we will have Mars, and I'm going to move this just so you can see it fully in here. All right. So this is a reset moment. Mars is returning home. Mars, the warrior, has been gone fighting wars for the past 2 years. And now the planet returns home, maybe expecting some kind of a homecoming and recognition for the trials and the tribulations of the last 2 years, of which there have been many. And a planet, when it returns home at 0 degrees, is a reset moment. Now, where have we recently seen a reset moment with this 0 degree energy? It's the Neptune-Saturn activation from February that is getting activated yet again. So remember, Saturn brings restriction, brings structure, brings rules. And Neptune shows us our dreams. It also shows us our delusions. So now you have Mars, this warrior, this fighter that comes in and says, it is time for me to fight for what I want, what I deserve. And for the next 6 weeks, that's exactly what you should focus on. Yourself. What is best for you? What are your dreams? How are you going to achieve your dreams? That's what we're focused on over these next 6 weeks. And so is everybody else. And so that can mean that there is still much more to fight about and fight for as we see this planet move into its home sign. And again, activate the work. So what do Neptune and Saturn want us to accomplish? Mars is coming in here and helping us see the possibility, the potential of that plan. So this is a really good 6-week window, which is about how long it takes Mars to move through each of the signs, for you to get motivated, to you revisit. I've talked about this before. What were your New Year's resolutions? What did you say you wanted to do in 2026? 3 months of the year are already gone. Have you gotten off your path? Then this is the energy that'll help you get back on it, especially through, like I said, that upcoming new moon in the sign of Aries that's going to be conjunct to Chiron. So where there is pain, where there are wounds, there's this opportunity for a new beginning. So these days between now and that new moon coming up on the 17th, this is the time to do the groundwork. So you have about a week, right, to get going, to get to work on what your dream is and to start building the structure, the plan, the foundation for bringing that dream you have to life this year. Now, at the same time, we'll have a bit of a wake-up call between the moon and Jupiter, of course, in the sign of Cancer. So this Cancer and Capricorn axis. This is, again, another day where if we haven't seen a decision yet from the courts, then here you have the government, moon in Capricorn, against the justices, or Jupiter in Cancer, trying to make a decision about immigration. And it would seem as though, of course, this moon in Capricorn won't be happy about it. So these two will form a brief T-square with that Sun and Aries energy too. So like I said, there's certain leaders in certain roles that are not going to like the decisions that are handed down today, and their bad behavior will be on display as a result. So don't let that be you, right? Because this is an ego check. The Sun in Aries is our ego self, and Jupiter wants us to do the right thing. The moon wants us to pay attention to, how what we're doing affects other people and their ability to care and nurture for themselves. The ability to see the government care and nurture for its people, right? That's what's supposed to be happening. Jupiter's reminding everyone that the goal of a government is to take care of the people. no matter who they are. Your role, take care of the people, not just yourself. So there's a battle this week, and we'll see it reach a bit of a head on Thursday with this intense conflict and conversation as Mars is clicking the reset button, starting a new 2-year cycle. There's lots of things changing and shifting at this time, and we want to create changes and shifts in our own lives that will move us forward and not keep us stuck. So that is Thursday. As we look ahead to Friday, Mars is just still getting settled in, still sitting at 0 degrees. Takes about 2 to 3 days for Mars to move through each of the degrees. So we're still considering what we're going to be resetting. And keep in mind, what Mars will be doing during its 6 weeks is having intense conversations, first with Neptune, that's coming up, then with Saturn. Those are the biggest changes, the biggest action that's happening from a leadership perspective. There can be more coming out from the Pope, for instance, when that Neptune energy gets activated, trying to get other leaders to resolve the conflicts that have been going on for far, far too long at this point. And as that moon in Capricorn speaks in harmony with that Uranus and Taurus energy at 29 degrees, there can be, again, the potential for some financial deals, some financial settlements of some kind between the government or a government, and it could be big. It could be a really big handout of some kind, but there's definitely big opportunities financially as far as money goes and governments goes and partnerships, and a trine energy, 120 degree angle between Uranus and the moon, can be some maybe positive surprises as far as finances go. But I'm just telling you, until we get Uranus out of Taurus, markets are still going to be really volatile and really a bit crazy. I think it's later in the summer when Chiron moves into the sign of Taurus where we see the ability to heal our money problems. Now, some of us will have to face issues of self-worth, realign our value systems, but I think that the markets will start to feel differently when we see Chiron move into the sign of Taurus this summer. More on that, of course, as we still have these other shifts and changes coming in. We'll keep talking about them. And of course, the next big one is going to be that Uranus and Gemini, when, things can fly through the sky and, so many things to talk about. I'm not going to get distracted because there's so much to learn, which is the other thing about Uranus and Gemini. It is a time of learnings and freedom of speech. Okay, really, I'm not going to delve into that yet today. Then I mentioned earlier in the week that we're going to start to see blessings, potential good news. And that's because we'll start to see on the weekend Venus speaking in harmony with Jupiter. So Taurus and Cancers, when they combine their energies together, they have a ton of good luck. They have really good luck when it comes to money and business. And so this can be a really big weekend to create a new business idea, a new partnership with somebody. And especially when it comes to resources and food, there can be something really positive that comes out of the energy at this time that we fully want to take advantage of. Whatever you want to be on the receiving end of, give that instead. So this is a great day to help out a food bank, to make a donation to a food bank, to start your own garden, right? Taurus is resources that come to us from the earth. And so it's a great day to do anything regarding food, regarding money, regarding families, and doing it with other people on a day like today. It really creates good karma for you in some way. But this is a really good news, good energy day. So stay in the positive, help other people, help yourself, and let this good energy flow between you and other people. And watch the blessings start to pour in. And as we wrap up the week on Sunday, that partnership between Venus and Jupiter just grows even stronger. So we have a couple of days where this is really feel good energy that we want to be taking full advantage of. And even today, we see that moon in Aquarius speaking in harmony with that sun in Aries. So this is, almost the end of the moon's, 28 and a half day cycle as it gets ready next week to join in with the sun and help us figure out how to heal and change and move forward. So it's always good when the sun and moon are interacting, whether it's a square, a sextile, trine, to pay attention to how your ego self is feeling and your emotional self is feeling. And when those two parts of ourselves are working in harmony, again, we want to take advantage of that feel good energy and do something positive. Now, also today, as I mentioned earlier, we see Mars speaking in harmony with Neptune. So, Mars, motivating you to work on your gifts, to pay attention to your intuition, to pay attention to your feelings. Now, this also can bring things up from beneath the surface, things that have been hidden about the self, about leaders, about war, and some truth could be exposed over these next couple of days because of Mars and Neptune combining their energies together. Now, on the darker side of things, Mars and Neptune can be very deceptive in trying to hide things. So, of course, we always have a balance of light and dark energy available to us. Do your best, tune into the light, send out that light energy, and set your intentions so that you're feeling the motivation and the help when it comes to your gifts and your dreams as these two combine. Now, there's a combining of that number 2 energy. And yes, I talk about numerology a lot because numbers have energy to them. And of course, so does astrology. The number 2 is about balance. And so, as I mentioned, there's this need for balance between the light and the dark, between the truth and the lies. And usually, I always say, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. It's not about the left, it's not about the right, but there's somewhere in the middle where the truth lies. And that's what we have the potential to see and understand on Sunday as well. So it feels like there's potentially some real positive energy available. We just have to take advantage of it. And that will wrap up the week for us. And as we head into next week, it is all about this stellium of planets that will be in the sign of Aries. So as the week progresses, we are going to see Mercury finish its time in Pisces, which has been a very, very difficult time. Pisces, the last sign. Pisces, things that are hidden. Pisces, things that tug at our heartstrings, are very emotional. Pisces, where we can play the role of the victim when we know dang well we are at cause for whatever is going on in our life. And there's been a tremendous amount of work we've needed to do with Mercury being retrograde in Pisces as well. And so today, Monday and Tuesday, as this Mercury energy hits that 29-degree mark, we're tested. Did we learn the lessons of the Mercury retrograde or not? You're going to find out here as we hit Tuesday. And then we start to see the lineup for the new moon in Aries that will involve Mercury and Neptune and the moon and Mars and Saturn and the sun and Chiron. It is a power-packed new moon. So, of course, you want to come back next week. We'll break it all down by sign. And what you'll notice is the sun and the moon, and I'm just going to move this ahead so we can see the moon up here. The sun and the moon are talking with Chiron. Now, Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron was the trainer of the gods. So there is a lot of pain that we could experience or we have experienced, and now we're ready to heal from it. This could be things that we inflict upon ourselves as far as a painful story goes. But the point of the new beginning, when that moon moves up and is joining with the sun and Chiron, is it is time to heal the pain that we've been causing ourselves. And so that is what we'll be working on. And at the same time, in the background, we'll have that Mars energy speaking in harmony with Pluto. So like I said, there's still things going on behind the scenes this week that could lead to a change in direction as far as these wars go. So come back next week. Make sure you've clicked on that subscribe button, gone out to my website and subscribed as well. Read through the new moon in Aries article that's already out there for you. You know, you've got the ruler of this new moon strong at home. So this is traditionally the first new moon of the astrological calendar year where things can really start to take shape and carry you forward. No more waiting. There's nothing that's retrograde. Mercury's cleared all its retrograde energy. So it really is time for us to launch something and move ourselves forward. But Saturn, talking in this odd angle with the South Node, says you have to pay attention to the past and what brought you here. And you have to make sure you don't repeat the mistakes of the past in order to start something new. So more on that next week. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for liking, commenting, sharing my work. And again, if you subscribe to my website, I send you out a weekly recap email that gives you easy access to all the links for my recordings, my daily tarot cards, the articles that are most important for the week ahead as well. So thank you again for joining in. I hope you had a blessed Easter weekend, and I hope that this week ahead inspires you to do something where you can make a difference in other people's lives and enjoy the many blessings that are possible. All right, guys, thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to catch up with you next week. Take care, everybody.